All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Real Movie Guys. My name is Kevin.
And I'm John.
And this week we're going to be talking about a little animated movie called Mortal Kombat Legend: Scorpion's Revenge. Keep in mind, this is not for kids. First off, I want to make that very clear. This is a R-rated animated movie that sure as hell earns its R rating. For those unaware, Mortal Kombat is a very famous video game franchise. It's one of my favorite, probably is my favorite fighting game franchise of all time. I've played just about every game you can imagine in the series. I know, John, you're a big fan of Mortal Kombat as well, so you were familiar with the franchise going into this movie, at least.
Oh yeah, I've always loved all the Mortal Kombat games, and it's always one of those games that you almost have to get when it comes out because it's always a decent game and it's always fun to play.
Right. So getting an animated movie, again, I was skeptical, of course, but this is from the studio that does the DC animated movies, which I think are pretty good for the most part. Quite a bit of them I enjoy. Some of them are subpar, so you never know what you're gonna get. I feel like every every second or third movie in that like lineup that we get, I feel like I enjoy it. Otherwise, it's just so you can let it go and move on with your life at that point. This movie I wouldn't say I had a lot of expectations. I had a lot of hopes for this movie. How about you? Did you have any kind of expectation for this movie, or?
No, I have had no expectations going into it. When I heard that it was like a Mortal Kombat movie, it almost kind of made me think like,
ladies and gentlemen, he had sub-zero expectations for this movie. I did it.
That's right.
I won't
Pun
do it
intended.
Again. I promise. No more for this video. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I feel like it wasn't marketed very well. I don't know. I didn't see much going on for it, as far as trailers or anything like that. It just came out, and I was like, oh, all right, this is out. We got to talk about this.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, going into it, I will say the big thing I'll say right off the bat is if you are not a Mortal Kombat fan, you will not enjoy this movie at all. I don't think. I mean, maybe you'll appreciate some aspects of it, but I think this is really just made for a Mortal Kombat fan, this movie. Which isn't a bad thing. Fandoms and everything have their place, but you really do have to at least have some knowledge of Mortal Kombat going into this movie.
Yeah, I think that if you have some knowledge of Mortal Kombat going into this, it makes the movie more enjoyable.
Right.
You won't be as confused.
So it's interesting. This movie, it's marketed as Scorpion's Revenge, which, that is a plot element in this movie. So before we even go even further, I know, again, there are going to be spoilers in this episode, so, if you don't want to hear anything, either I recommend, stopping this now, check it out, come back, or if you don't care, stick around. We're going to talk about it regardless, but I do want to get into some spoilers with this. But essentially, like I said, the movie it's called Mortal Kombat Legends: Scorpion's Revenge. I wouldn't say that's really what this movie's about, per se. I feel like it's more of a more or less animated retelling of the Mortal Kombat live action movie. It's like they said, all right, we really like that movie. Let's go ahead and we're going to retell that over again. The movie starts out with Scorpion. His family's murdered. He's known as Hanzo Hasashi. I think Hakashi Hasashi, I believe is his name. His family's murdered and he gets sent to the, underworld. Otherworld or whatever. They have, and it's funny, they actually do make fun of that in the movie where they're like Earth Realm and like that's a stupid name, just call it Earth. And pretty much he's sent to hell and he makes a deal to get out of, if he gets out of hell, he made a deal that if he goes, he has to fight in the Mortal Kombat tournament and he'll get whatever he wants and yada yada yada. Like I said, this movie is not what's the word I'm looking, it's not really about him. I feel like I would say maybe 20% is about Scorpion. Maybe.
Yeah, I'd give it
20,
that.
25, like a quarter of the movie.
Yeah, not enough
Sprinkle
for like
through.
his.
Like he's in the beginning. It's about him, and it was really. I mean, that opening scene to this movie is really well done. Which we'll talk about. But
that's a great scene. I like that scene.
if you're going into the scene thinking it's like a Scorpion biopic, It's not really that.
Which,
It's
though, the name kind of says it's going to be more based all about him
Yeah, but it's
and not.
not, and I feel like I wouldn't say that's misleading, but it's just like I don't know. Maybe it's just a different. I feel like if you just called this like Mortal Kombat, like Mortal Kombat First Round or something like that would have been kind of cool. Maybe something like that would have been a little better. I think the Scorpion's revenge thing was just for marketing. I want to say. I think that's why, just because he's a well-known character, so they're like, all right, let's put Scorpion's revenge on here, and we'll
That's
kind of
true.
make him the main character, but he's not really. You know.
Yeah, I
Because
feel you with
essentially,
that.
after you get through the whole rigmarole with Scorpion, it just literally jumps into what is essentially the plot of the first Mortal Kombat movie. Is this ninth? I think it's the ninth Mortal Kombat tournament that they're jumping into, and they have to win, or Earthrealm will be defeated. And Raiden, who's the god of thunder, he gathers Liu Kang, uh, Johnny Cage, and Sonya Blade, and they have to fight for Earthrealm, and if they have to win in order to save the world, yada yada yada. And Scorpion's just kind of doing his own thing in the background there for a little bit. He does become a key player later in the movie, but again, not really based on him. I want to say,
No.
I mean, again, not that it's a negative, but I guess I wasn't expecting that.
Well, yeah, going into it, you were thinking more that it was going to be mostly about him in a way,
Yeah.
but
But
instead it
I don't want
became.
that to come off as I don't want that to come off as a bad thing, because this is a great adaptation. If you like Mortal Kombat the movie, especially, I think this is a really good adaptation. It kind of made me really hopeful that maybe we'll get a really good live action movie someday, because this is a good adaptation. I think they do tell the story of Mortal Kombat pretty well. Again, you do have to have some knowledge. This is made for fans of Mortal Kombat, because there are some like things you just kind of have to know or understand that aren't fully explored. Like the realms isn't really, it's kind of explained, but not really. Like why Scorpion can come back to life out of nowhere after he's dead. And again, you just kind of have to know that stuff in
Yeah.
order to fully understand the movie. But again, I don't want that to come off as a bad thing. Like I said, this is a great adaptation of Mortal Kombat. So I think if you're a fan, you're really going to like this movie. Now, John, what I want to ask you, importantly, what did you think of the animation? Where were you on as far as the animation of this movie?
See, that's where it comes in tricky with me.
Okay.
Like, because playing the video games
Right.
and just playing like the last Mortal Kombat, even,
Right.
I felt like those graphics and the animation in that
Mm-hmm.
was better than this,
Right.
which kind of made me think like, why couldn't they have done this maybe better in a way?
Okay.
Like, I feel like the video game, like the graphics in the video game are so good. Like with each character, it's just done so well
Mm-hmm.
that I feel like this kind of isn't as done as well.
So let's talk about that real quick. So my take, I really like this animation. To be honest, it's very stylized. It differs itself from if you look at some of the other DC animated movies. I was worried it was going to have more of an anime feel. It doesn't. It's not anime. It's definitely more of a Western feel as far as animation. I do like it a lot. The character models all look pretty spot on for what I would expect them. Like when you look at a character in this, I feel like you can identify like who they are. Like you look at Liu Kang's character model, he looks like a martial artist. You look at Johnny Cage, you see like he's an actor. They ooze the character that they are. Sonya Blade, for example, she's a masculine fighter. She's a military woman, but she still comes off feminine. So I think they did a really good job as far as the character models. My only complaint, I would say, with the animation is some of the black lining that they use. A lot of the characters, if you look at them, had these really like massive dark black lines, especially on their knuckles, which was really weird and really distract. It could just be for me, I don't know. But if you look at their knuckles, they had these like giant, they almost look like tattoos, and I was like, I don't know, it was just really distracting to me. Like, I couldn't tell the difference. Like some of the lining was just too dark. Like I don't know if it was like they were going for like a shadowing, some kind of shadowing. It's supposed to be shadowing, but you couldn't tell the difference if it was a shadow or a tattoo. I just felt like it distracted me style
Yeah.
wise. Maybe I would have like thinned out those lines a little bit just to change. Again, it's the artist's interpretation. I understand. I don't have to necessarily like that part about it, but overall, the animation was crisp and fluid. I felt like everything ran nice. The other thing I want to say about the animation is there were two extra things. They would do these weird like abstract art scenes in some of the kills, like we were talking about earlier when Scorpion's family was getting murdered. There's this really cool like I don't know if it's like a loose like fast forward abstract thing where all the lines are. It doesn't look like anything else in the show. It like speeds up, and you see like this like flash of animation. Almost looks like I don't want to say like a water painting on like steroids. Like I feel like someone just cranked it up to 100 and that thing's going, and that was really cool. Like that was a really cool scene. I just think the animation just popped for me. It looked so much different and unique. I really like that. And
Well, it was a great way to start off the movie too. Like to
right,
have
right,
such a cool scene in the beginning
yeah.
kind of draws you into it, even if you were like a little hesitant getting into it.
Yeah, and they
That draws
sprinkled it
you in.
throughout. Yeah, and they sprinkled that art style throughout. Like every now and then you'd get something. They'd also a lot of the nods to the video game I think are great, especially if you're a fan. They included the X-ray kills where when another fighter hits another fighter, you'd see like the skull cracking or the bones breaking or their eyeballs
Yeah.
flopping out of their head. And wow, the violence in this movie, like the minute they start going in this movie, there's like a guy like disemboweled on the floor. I'm like, okay, well, hopefully no one was like in the kids section at like Target and saw, hey, let me buy this for my kid and let them watch it because that kid's gonna see a whole lot of things they were gonna ever exposed to. Let me tell you that because
They're gonna
again,
turn that off
yeah,
first 10 minutes.
it's violent, and you know what? And that's part of Mortal Kombat. You know, the movie, the series is called Mortal Kombat for a reason. It's ultra violent, whether
Yeah.
that's your thing or not. That is what the series is about. So they did a good service there. I can't argue that the service to the violence was great. Again, that's definitely for fans. It earns its R rating, which is great. Yeah, I mean, and I really like that. The other thing I'll say, as far as relating to animation and whatnot, is the choreography. I thought was really good. All the action scenes were really well done. I felt like nothing was moving too fast or and it looked awkward. It all looked fluid and natural to me.
Yeah.
I was invested. I was a little not like emotionally invested, but all right, this is pretty cool. I can dig this.
Yeah, I thought the fighting, everything with the fighting and everything was good. It
Yeah,
felt like it was well done in ways and definitely
like true to the
meshed well
characters.
together.
Like Scorpion fought hardcore. Like Scorpion fought with his spear. He shot out the spear and he was like ripping people apart. And then you had Johnny Cage who was fighting all. At first he didn't really fight that much, and then he starts fighting and he's like he's cocky, he's arrogant. Each character was well represented. Like they took you could tell this was a labor of love as far as animation. Like they really did love these characters and wanted to do them justice, and everyone was. I enjoyed everything. That's really it was good. That was really good. I will say I really liked this movie for that. Did you have what kind of negatives would you say you had in this movie? Because we're gushing about it, but I think there's a couple things. What kind of thoughts do you have?
Um, I felt like maybe it kind of was a little bit too long
Okay,
per se.
I could see
Like
that.
like I feel like some of the things that they dragged out for too long.
Right.
Maybe they could have done maybe they could have kept it the same length, but did different things.
Is there like a particular scene maybe that you felt was a little too long, or you didn't need it, or is there something like in particular you could point out?
Not one that I can think of off the top of my head.
Okay.
I just felt like when I was watching it, there was a couple scenes where I was like, well, I would have gotten rid of that or something like that
You
in the
could.
way,
I feel like you could argue. We were talking about Scorpion being the main character, not in this movie. I feel like you could argue like they took their time with the Scorpion scenes, and then everything else was just fast forwarded. Like we were talking about Scorpion, and suddenly like, okay, we're in the tournament now. Like, whoa, all right, we're here now. Okay, I mean you could argue that.
Or the
Yeah,
1,000 Sub-Zeros that are around.
yeah. Well, we'll get to Sub-Zero. I'm not the Sub-Zero yet. But onto some of the other characters. I thought all the voice acting was really good. I I mean, a lot of the voice acting you can argue is pretty corny, but that is part of the Mortal Kombat theme. Is like it is corny. I mean, what do you expect? I didn't really enjoy Sonya and Johnny Cage his voice acting that much. I felt like a lot of their line delivery fell flat for me, especially Johnny Cage. Like I was expecting these like banger joke. Like I know he's supposed to be kind of like like roll your eyes, kind of corny, but I feel like I needed more enthusiasm. I was really surprised though that it was actually Joel McHale was actually the voice of Johnny Cage.
Really?
Yeah, and Jennifer Carpenter. I don't know if you know, she's from Dexter. She was the Dexter sister in that series. She played
Okay.
Sonya. Both of them, I would say maybe Joel McHale has more voice acting experience than her, but I was surprised, that they kind of fell flat for me. They really arguably the only seasoned voice actors in the seasoned actors in this series, and again, maybe getting their video game counterparts would have been better because the cutscenes in some of the video game, like especially the most recent Mortal Kombat, their character, they know their characters at this point. I feel like minus Ronda Rousey as Sonya Blade, but everybody else, they know their character at this point. So I feel like maybe getting more veteran voice actors could have helped, flesh out those characters a little more. Steve Bloom, who's I'm not even gonna, if you're watching this channel, Steve Bloom is a very famous voice actor. He plays Sub-Zero, and I feel bad. Sub-Zero is a really famous character, and in the early part, you're like, oh, he's the villain. He killed Scorpion's family, and then you find out it was Quan Chi, who's this evil sorcerer, pretended to be Sub-Zero and killed his whole family, which doesn't really make much sense, but it is what it is. And then he just kills Sub-Zero out of nowhere, and I was like, oh, well, I guess you're not that important anymore. Sorry, Sub-Zero.
Sorry, Sub-Zero's.
Yeah, he literally just impales him. They have a quick fight, which isn't even that long of a fight. I was expecting this big, epic. Granted, he wasn't the main villain, but, I expected a little more from Sub-Zero. I'm surprised, When you think of Mortal Kombat, usually you think, of course, Scorpion, and you think Sub-Zero. Those are the two characters.
Those two, the guys that go after each other every time.
I don't know. That kind of bothered me a little bit. Again, maybe that's just me. Only other negative I'll throw out here real quick. The music didn't blow me away. Not that it's a negative, but it was more of a just
Yeah.
It didn't blow me away. I honestly, and I don't know if it's fanboy or not, I wanted to be the rockin' Mortal Kombat theme. Like, I needed that. Wasn't in here. Wasn't in here at all. I don't know what that was about. I know they've tried to move away from it in some points, but it's so iconic. Like, it just would have fit in a couple of those scenes. Just have or do some kind of rendition of it would have been great. But
you mean if they just yelled out Mortal Kombat?
Like, I don't know. I missed it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
I missed it. I'm not gonna lie to you, I missed it. But I think overall, I would say this is a really successful outing for them, especially for the first animated movie in the series. At the end, they do tease a second one, which is exciting. We'll have Shao Kahn and stuff like that. They teased him at the end. They're all gonna fight and have another, not another tournament, but they'll have a big war and continue the story.
I actually almost forgot about that part.
Yeah, no, it's good. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited for the second. I hope they do a second one. I don't know where this stands as far as this one's a little tougher because it doesn't have the measuring stick. Really, is probably just going to be like what the DVD sales were. But if you're not promoting it, I don't know how that's going to work.
Well, yeah. Plus, if not too many people have even heard about it to watch it, it's kind of like you can't.
What I would have done? You could have packaged it. I don't know if that would have been something, but I think it was this last week, the time of this video, the most Mortal Kombat Aftermath, the newest DLC for Mortal Kombat came out. Maybe they should have did some kind of package deal, like you buy this movie, get a discount on the DLC, or vice versa. Try to include it. Maybe that would have been good advertising, number one, and number two, that would have been a cool package deal. I would have dug that.
At least then you would have been putting it out to the people who are probably most likely going to be into it too.
Yeah.
Instead of, because if you're doing it with DLC for the game, most of those people at least already know part of the story per se.
Right. But I will say, like I said, I hope there's more to come. Mortal Kombat Legends, as the title infers, this is one of many legends to come in the Mortal Kombat series, I hope. So again, I do hope there's more. So we're coming to the end of this video. As far as my grade, I actually have two. I've a grade and a recommendation. It's a little different.
Interesting.
If you don't like Mortal Kombat, have no interest in Mortal Kombat, do not watch this movie. It's just skip it. It's not for you. All right. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be that guy. I don't think this is going to convince you to go and like Mortal Kombat. I could be wrong. I could be wrong about that, but I don't think that's who this is for. You'd be better off maybe just picking up a video game, jumping in, and then maybe playing this I could see that as a recommendation for you. If you're a fan of animation, it's nothing too spectacular. I'm dogging on it, but that's not the point. The point is, as I'm reading this from the perspective, I want to see everyone knows where I'm coming from, the perspective of a Mortal Kombat fan. So it is maybe a little more biased than a normal review. My review, I'm gonna land at a B plus for this movie. I thoroughly
Wow.
enjoyed it. I think if you like Mortal Kombat, this is probably, I will argue, this is probably the best Mortal Kombat animation. This is probably the most, other than the video game, this is probably the best Mortal Kombat thing we've gotten, even more so than the cheesy old live action movie. I think this is the best thing Mortal Kombat we've gotten. So yeah, I'm gonna go with a B plus. John, where are you on this one?
I'm actually on a B.
A B. Okay.
Um, I feel like, I mean, I can understand where you come with like the B plus,
Right.
but I felt like also like what I was saying with like the video game and everything.
Right.
How about those graphics and stuff? How that would have made it a little bit better.
Yeah. Right. So you're
But
saying maybe with like video game graphics, like if they used that
yeah,
engine, maybe you would have liked it a little more. That would have been more for
I
you.
I feel like it would have made almost the characters seem even more per se real than what
Right.
they were in this.
Right. All right,
But it
well,
was still a good movie.
yeah. Yeah. All right. All right. Well, that's what we got to say about this week. This movie, this week, this guys. So, like I said, we are the real movie guys. John, where can they find us at home if they want to? What should they be doing if they want to interact with us?
They should be liking this video,
Please,
subscribing to our channel,
please do.
hitting us up on Twitter at TheReelMovieGuys.
Yes.
We also have a page on Facebook that you can go onto. It's also The Real Movie Guys. And we're going to try to stay active as much as we can.
We're trying. We're keeping up the schedule. Like I said, try to interact. We'll try to interact with you guys in the comments. Give us some critiques, what you like, what you don't like. We changed up our settings a little bit. We're trying to have something a little more interactive on the screen when we're talking to you guys. So I hope you guys do appreciate that. Like I said, we are the Real Movie Guys. Real guys, real movies, real thoughts. And we'll see you in the next episode, guys. Take it easy.
See ya!